What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades. Today's feature blade is a product from Real Steel Knives. What we've got is the Real Steel Megalodon, and not just any Megalodon, but what we've got is the Eclipse model, which is the 2018 version of this knife. And when I say version, I mean version because there's multiple versions of this knife, and we do have a few on hand. We're going to set this down really quick, and we're going to show these right off of the bat because there is a major difference. What we've got is the original quote-unquote budget model that is in G10, and then we have the 2017 premium model in a titanium frame lock. And you can see right here immediately, Baz on Blades, there's something wrong here. I thought this was another Megalodon. There's a huge difference here. What is that? Something is sticking out to me. Something's sticking out to me. Oh, look, it's the blade sticking out to you. Look at the difference here, guys. Let's go ahead and pick this titanium one up. And both the titanium and the G10 are in a full flat ground drop point blade profile. But the 2018 Eclipse version is not. What we have here is more of a saber ground, almost trailing point type of blade profile, bordering on almost an Indo-Persian type of blade profile. That is I mean, guys, look at that again. That's a radical change right there, and something we will cover later on in the review. All right. Well, as far as, let's go ahead and pull out some packaging here, as I like to do in my reviews, and it's the standard sort of pearly, silver, metallic-y type of packaging, and unfortunately I pulled out the 2017 titanium version. Let's swap that out, and we'll get this up, because the boxes look the same, guys. And what we've got here is the Megalodon Eclipse 2018 titanium and carbon fiber, stock number 9612. This is a numbered version, and this is number 064, or as we like to call it here in America, 64. And I don't know how many there is total of this, but I know they're still for sale, and price-wise you're looking at slightly more than $200, say in the $200 to $210 price range, and that's a pretty doggone decent deal, guys. All right, now this is, along with the other two versions, a loaner knife that was sent to me by a viewer named Frank. And actually Frank had LTK send me this knife, and Frank sent me these two versions, and then I will box them back up as soon as I'm done and send them back to Frank. Thank you very much, Frank. These are very interesting, very well made knives. I've really enjoyed my time with them. Now let's go ahead and knock some specs out on this knife, get the numbers out of the way because that's the boring part, and then we're going to talk about this knife a little bit. These are a full-size knife. You're looking at a 3 7/8 inch blade length, and that's about 98 millimeters. Your blade stock thickness, I got 138 thousandths of an inch, or 3.5 millimeters. The blade width, 970 thousandths of an inch, or 24.6 millimeters. The handle length, 4 7/8 of an inch, or about 12.5 centimeters. Your handle thickness, 479 thousandths of an inch, or 12.17 millimeters. The handle width, and on this design, the handle width, the widest part is actually at the butt end, and that's 1.04 inches, or 26.6 millimeters. The closed width will flip up here to the pivot end and include the flipper tab, and that's 1.26 inches, or 32.1 millimeters. A very slim, fully nested blade on this design. Your overall length, about 9 3/4 of an inch, or 22 centimeters. Stop pin diameter, take a look at this, guys. This is something I really like. Your stop pin diameter is the same as your blade stock thickness. I like that balance in a knife. So we're looking at 138 thousandths of an inch, or 3.5 millimeters. Behind the edge thickness on this, just like in the two drop point versions, it is ground very thin behind the edge, guys. I averaged out, I hit it in 3 spots, averaged out about 19 thousandths of an inch, or 0.48 millimeter. Your handle to blade ratio is excellent at 0.79. That is very, very good. And your weight, a very lightweight, 3.56 ounces, or 101 grams. All right. Now, what we're looking at here is a long, slim profile. So I'm going to pull out a couple of knives out of my collection that I think exemplify this type of long, slim profile, and we'll do a little comparison. And these are two fairly popular models, and the first one we're going to pull out is the Bestech Swordfish, another long, slim model, and we're going to line them up at the pivot. And then my favorite is the Zero Tolerance 0452 carbon fiber. And again, we'll line those up at the pivot. Now, take a look at what we've got here. There are some slight differences in length, the Zero Tolerance being the longest overall. But if you look at the profiles, guys, what you're seeing here is a very comparative design language, in that you're getting a long blade length but in a slim and easy to carry design. And that's what these are, guys. They're all slim and easy to carry. And let's take a look at this Megalodon here, this Eclipse, this 2018 Eclipse version. And we're going to start, and we're going to go over materials. The blade steel is M390. As you can see right here, take a look right here, we're in M390. It's printed very small. M390 is, it's sort of a standard setter for modern, very high-end, high-performance, high carbon, highly alloyed stainless steels. It's very, very much packed with carbides. It's a very aggressive cutter. It has a great wear resistance or edge retention. It has pretty doggone good impact resistance or toughness, and really good corrosion resistance. Guys, it is out of the high end, the quote-unquote high end of the premium steels, it's probably my favorite, along with its counterparts, which is 20CV. And I'm having a brain fart, guys. I can't think of the other one. But 3 steels that are basically the same thing from different manufacturers, and I will think about it, or somebody can comment on the comments and let me know what it is, because it just slipped my mind. But it's a very, very high performing stainless steel, and it's a standard setter. It is a premium steel, and at the $200 to $210 price point, very, very appropriate steel choice. In the handle, what you've got on the show side is a full thickness, no liner, carbon fiber show side scale. It is very attractive. It's a basic sort of 2x2, I think, is that pattern carbon fiber. So it's not really anything fancy, but it is high quality. I don't see any voids in it anywhere, guys, where it's machined or in the flat here. It's got that sort of silky, you can hear me rub on it, satiny finish. It is not glossy at all, and this is my favorite style of finish on carbon fiber. It is a lot like, slightly different but a lot like this carbon fiber that is on this Zero Tolerance 0452. I prefer that look over, highly polished and glossy carbon fiber. On the back side, you've got a titanium frame lock. You've got a stamped titanium pocket clip. And you've got stainless small hardware here, your screws and your pivot, a couple of concaved, nice designer standoffs here, and then a unique lanyard attachment point. You've got a capture pin that is drilled through, so you can attach a lanyard through that. That's very unique and carries across the different models of the Megalodon. So you've got really, really high-end materials, guys. And again, I'm going to pull this knife out again. Very, very comparable to this Zero Tolerance, except for the blade steel. This Zero Tolerance, my version of this, I believe, let's take a look at that, is in S35VN. Does it even say? Yes, it does say it right there, which is a premium blade steel, but M390 is an even more premium blade steel, and one of the reasons we can get that for a slightly lower price point, again about $210 versus $220 to $240, is this is a Chinese made product, where the Zero Tolerance is an American made product. And I'm going to tell you guys, other than that, and if you just look at quality and what you're getting material wise, they are pretty much exactly the same. I'm not going to lie to you guys, they are pretty much exactly the same. So if you are a Zero Tolerance fan and you think that they set a standard for quality, then you deserve to treat yourself to at least take a look at this knife, guys. It is a fabulously well-made knife. And speaking of, let's go to fit and finish, and we'll go here to the blade. And you can see that it is wreaking havoc with the focus on my camera, and that's because it keeps reflecting so much light right into the camera here. And it has a machine satin finish that is lightly polished. Again, you've got a flat grind here, guys. It is a saber type of grind. It is not a full flat grind. Again, let's pull this out right here. Look at this. That's a lot alike. And then we're going to pull this one out right here, guys. Look at this. We're seeing some familiarity here in these models from different manufacturers. And it's got a great tip here, sort of a moderately upswept tip that is extremely sharp and pierces. It catches instantly with just touching it. It catches, guys, no pressure at all. So it's very stabby, pointy, pokey. Again, very thin behind the edge. The edge grind is very even on each side, all the way to termination here, thanks to a useful and almost perfect sharpening choil. This primary grind has a soft plunge here, a soft wide plunge, and that is doggone near perfect as far as being able to sharpen to the termination of the edge. Maybe if it was, a millimeter wider, the sharpening choil, it would be absolutely perfect. You've got a nice long sort of mid-blade swedge here that does not go all the way to the tip, but terminates right in the primary grind here. You've got a flat spine to the blade. Guys, it's just very well done, very well machined, sterile on the front as far as markings, and minimalist on the back. We'll flip this over and you can take a look at what we've got here. You've got the designer name, guys, if you want to look at that very closely, and your information, your steel designator and whatnot on the back of that. It's a very small font, it's attractive, and it doesn't jump out at you like billboard and wood. So very well done there. Fit and finish on the handle. We'll take another close look at this carbon fiber, and I can find absolutely nothing out of the way as far as the machining on it goes. Again, no voids, nice radially finished hardware, giving you that sort of fire type of look to the hardware, the way it reflects light. And you can especially see that as the light plays across that pivot, which is a very simple design. It's dished in the center and domed around the outside, and you can see the way the light hits it. It gives it a lot of personality without, you know, being really fancy. There's not much to it, guys. It's just the way it's finished. And then, you know, you sort of reflect it in the back here, and you can see that it is a Torx drive pivot, easily adjustable. Your insert here, you've got 2 screws holding it in. The machining on the titanium on the back, again, as I said in the other Megalodon reviews that I did that covered the G10 and titanium version, and you're welcome to check that out if you want. It's not plain on the back. It is a bead blast finished, but you've got so much character and personality going on in the back. You've got this non-standard swoopy, swervy lock bar cutout here that it just looks fantastic. It's sort of puzzle piece type of look to it. You've got this tail, Megalodon tail, giant sloth tail type of pocket clip design, and while it is not a milled pocket clip, it is a titanium pocket clip. It is sitting in a milled pocket with a large Torx head screw to hold it in. There's no play in it, guys. It's very solid. And then you can see your lock bar tension relief cut is not just you know, straight cuts like on this zero tolerance. It's sort of stylized, and you've got those, you know, concave opposing concave cuts in it. So you can see there's a lot of personality in the back of this knife. That is something that you do not normally see in a frame lock unless it's done with fancy hardware or anodization or something like this. And here you're just seeing the bead blast finish with stainless hardware and a stamped titanium pocket clip, but you've still got all of this it's sort of fancy millwork on it, and that looks fantastic. It's fantastically done. The finish, fit and finish on the standoffs and your lanyard attachment point, also excellent, guys. As I said, this knife, fit and finish wise, quality wise, material wise, is comparable to anything else in its price range. Now, let's talk about action. This thing is on a bearing pivot. I believe it is ceramic bearings with a ceramic detent. It is excellent action. It is pretty much fall shut smooth, guys. The detent is perfect. Lots of kinetic energy stored in that detent, and when it breaks, it really rockets that blade out. It's got nice early, probably about 40% lockup, and again, you've got a hardened steel lock face insert, over travel insert there, so that lockup should not move or wear out like just plain titanium on steel would wear. The centering in the closed position is pretty much perfect, guys. As far as action, I don't see how you could expect much more out of it. I'm very pleased with that, and I think that anybody would be in this knife. So action-wise, again, for the price, you are right where you would want to be. Now, we'll go to utilities and ergonomics. Utilitarian use in this blade, you've got a nice long section of flat here, a nice slicey belly, a very pointy tip. Again, it's sort of a trailing point, Indo-Persian-y almost type of design that's in a saber grind but with a thin behind the edge thickness. Guys, this is a very slicey blade for a saber grind. Excellent geometry on the primary grinds here, thinning way down towards the edge before the secondary grind is done, so you get that nice thin secondary grind. It's extremely slicey, nice pointy, pokey, stabby tip on it here, guys. That's everything that you could expect out of a blade. It's not super thin on the tip either, because the swedge is sort of center oriented here on the blade, and just, you know, it just comes up and meets the primary grind basically, and you get a lot of thickness towards the tip to support that tip, even though that it is, you know, the profile itself is very sharp and thin. You still get enough thickness to support that, so that gives you that stabby sort of blade profile, but with a lot of strength there. I very much appreciate the utility potential in this blade profile and blade grinds. Now, one thing I will say, there is no jimping on the spine of the blade. Not a big deal. The handle is very ergonomic, and I do feel locked in, but I do sort of wish there was a little bit of jimping there. I don't miss it in the sense that when I grab a hold of it, I think, oh, this is, you know, this doesn't feel secure. I just sort of miss it in the sense that, you know, it's 99% perfect. If it would have just had the jimping, it'd be 100%. Why stop that 1% short? In that sense there, guys. And for somebody that really doesn't care about jimping, you're not going to miss it at all, because the handle is so ergonomic. You've got a nice moderate choil here. When joined with the flipper tab, gives you a nice depth and security there. The center part of the handle here is wide open. It is not restrictive at all. It works great in a forward grip. It works great in a reverse grip, guys. You know, here in your draw grip, it's not too awful bad. Not too bad at all. You can see that that is not super intrusive there. That flipper tab into the webbing between my first finger and thumb, that's not too bad, guys. As far as a pinch grip, you can see you've got a little bit of thickness on the handle, but at just 479 thousandths of an inch, slightly shy of a half an inch, it's not too bad, guys. It's actually a very comfortable knife to use in multiple grips. So no problem on ergonomics at all. I mean, material-wise, you're doing great. Fit and finish-wise, it's damn near perfect. The action is fantastic. The ergos and utilitarian potential is all there in this knife. The Megalodon is such a good design. And, you know, when I first took this out, guys, to close this video out, when I first took it out and compared it to the other versions, I was like, why did they do that on the blade? Why did they change from this full flat grind? This thing is just, it's like a slicing machine, guys. A slicing machine. And I thought instantly when I saw this sort of saber grind, this trailing point profile and a saber grind, I thought, oh, they just made a mistake. But they didn't. Somehow, in this narrow blade profile with good stock thickness and a saber grind, they have got a really thin, slicey edge with a nice pointy blade profile. And you know what? Yes, it's different. It's not the flat grind, but it's just as good, guys. It is just as good. I was pleasantly surprised. So, Baz Arm Blades, what do you think about the Real Steel Megalodon Eclipse, the 2018 version? And the only thing I'm going to say is, stop right here, rewind, and rewatch this video. I think it's obvious. I'm just really impressed with this knife. the Megalodon model overall from Real Steel at all the price points and materials that it's available in. This version is a beautiful premium version. It's not too flashy, but it gives you super high-end premium materials, super high-end build. You're staying around that $200 to $210 price point. It's slightly better than some brands. It's super competitive with almost everything price-wise. And it's just a winner, guys. This is a winner. I want to say thank you to Frank for letting me borrow these knives. Good Lord, Frank. I feel like I've had these knives for a year, and I apologize for that, buddy. I am going to get these out in the mail to you tomorrow. So, guys, I can recommend this knife wholeheartedly. I've found it to be an excellent deal for the price. Super high end in every way as far as production knife goes, and I think that anybody would be happy with it. All right, guys, as always, I thank you for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.